Hi guys, so we're going to start using Autodesk Inventor. So the first thing you want to do is go to your programs and search for either Auto or Inventor, whatever, and it will come up right here. You'll notice that Autodesk Inventor will take a little while to load up. It's a pretty big program, so don't worry if your computer sits on the screen for a little while. It's just loading all the different kinds of features that Autodesk has for you. So once your Autodesk loads up, this is the screen that you're going to see. And you can choose new from here, open. You can look at different projects that you have. There's a bunch of different tutorials here. So, going through some of these is a good idea to familiarize yourself with different things that Autodesk can do for you, because Inventor has so many possibilities, and the more you work with it, the better you're going to be at it. Once you start making files on your own and saving them, they'll come up over here. But for now, we're going to click New. So once you click New, this screen is going to come up, and this is asking us what kind of file do we want to make. So here first, the templates that we have to choose from are the different kinds of measurements that we're going to use. So either English, which will be inches, or metric, which will be centimeters. It doesn't matter which one you use, but you need to make sure that the units that you're using are the units that you actually want your part to be in, so that it will fit once it comes out of the 3D printer. So your units will be right over here. If I click English, and if I want to create a part, so a part is just one piece of a project. If you look over here, we have a bunch of different parts. This silver or gray one is one part, this green is another part, and this blue is another part. We use assembly later to put different parts together and see how they'll match with each other. We can do that and see if all of our pieces are made correctly before we print them out on the 3D printer. We can see how they're all going to work together and make sure that the dimensions that we put in are correct. If I click metric, I'll have different choices. For right now, let's select English. And sheet metal is something that we usually don't use. So you're pretty much always going to choose standard. So whether you're on English, you'll choose this standard, or metric, you'll choose standard. This will be in millimeters. And you'll see over here, here's your different dimensions. So let's go English standard, and let's just click create. Now it's going to take a little while, and you'll know that it's loading by this little green bar on the bottom. It'll also say loading different parts of Inventor down here. Don't get frustrated that it takes a little while. It's just because Inventor has so many options to choose from. So you'll see this bar telling you that it's going to load up over here, and once it's finally done, you'll have all these options to choose from. So this is the first screen that you're going to see, and you can see we have a bunch of different choices up here. If I'm on one choice, I have a bunch of different choices there. I can choose even more parts if I choose this little arrow. So these are a bunch of different pieces of Inventor. So up here you have your navigation tool. So here, if you want to do another new file, you want to save your file, iProperties we're going to use later, you want to export it as a different format, because we need CAD format when we want to print it on the 3D printer. So over here, that's your navigation tool. Here's your navigation cube. So you can spin your part around, and once we have an actual drawing here, every time I spin this, it's going to give me a different view, and I can turn it. And if I get to a view that I don't want, and it will take me a while to get back, the easiest way to go back is to just click this little home. You can also right click and choose go home as well. So there's a couple different ways. That's your navigation cube. Here we have a panel that will allow us to see different portions of our object. So this hand will allow me to click and drag my sketch over. If you see this magnifying glass and there's a little arrow at the bottom, we have a bunch of different options that we can zoom with, and they'll all have a different symbol so that you know which one. And the more we use them, the more familiar you'll get with them. So zoom will be the way that you can just zoom in and out on different parts of your object. Zoom all will allow you to see the entire sketch that you have created. Zoom window will allow you to choose a specific window that it will zoom to see. And zoom selected will zoom onto whichever part of your sketch you have already selected. We have a pivot button here, and that will allow us to rotate. You'll see this, the cube in the top corner is spinning as I move my mouse around, and also in the bottom left my axis is moving. So I just hold down and I can pivot, free rotate my object. If I want to go home, just click my home. And anytime you have an option selected, so I have this selected, how can I get out of it? I just right click and do done, or you'll see I have my little escape. I can just click the escape button and I will have my normal arrow back. Up here we have the ribbon. This is called the ribbon, and we have a bunch of different options to choose from. And as we create parts, you are going to see how all these tools work. Over here is your browser. So let's say I'm not going to go through this because I just want to show you what the browser means, but say I start drawing something, and then I finish, and then I extrude it. Okay, so you can see over here now in my browser, these are the steps that I took to create this part. So if I go back and I say, oh wait, but that sketch that I had, that first square, I didn't put dimensions on it, I want to change those. So I can go, this extrusion, if I just hover over it, it will show me which part of my part is this extrusion, because once we create more complex parts, you're going to have multiple extrusions, you're going to have a whole list. So if you hover over them, it will tell you which one you're using. If you click the little plus sign, it will show you what actually created that extrusion. So I have sketch 1, and you'll see it's grayed out. And once it's grayed out, that means that I can't actually see my sketch lines. You'll see that they're just gone. If I right click on my sketch and I click visibility, now those sketch lines are going to stay there, so I can see them even when I'm in my 3D model. So this, depending on how colored in this is, that's how you know if you can see your sketch or not. And you can just change it by right clicking. Now if I want to change this, I can either click it and it will give me this option where I can edit sketch here. I can also right click and edit sketch here, and I can also just double click it. If I double click on the words, I can change it and I can say square sketch or just square, right? And now I know what part that is. Maybe this extrusion, I want to change the extrusion name to be box. So now if I want to change my dimensions or my drawing of my square, I can double click on the symbol, and if I double click it, it will bring me back to my 2D sketch options. So now I can say, oh, I want to make sure that this has a dimension of 0.5 on both sides. And now I can finish my sketch, and it will update my sketch from that the changes that I just made. And now if I want those dimensions to show up, I can always right click and make that visible, and those dimensions will show up on my sketch. I can also do the same thing with my box. If I double click on there, I can change how far my sketch is being extruded, and I can change all those different options. So the browser is really, really helpful because it goes back and shows you all the different steps that you took to create this object that you see. So go on to the next video where you're going to learn how to actually create a part and use some of these different tools to create your puzzle pieces.